So if anyone else ever puts my family or anyone I love at risk, I won't hesitate to kill them.
What the hell did I just watch? The finale for Invincible Season 3 just dropped, and holy shit, what an episode that was, man. I think that might have been the best episode in the entire show so far. We got Conquest versus Invincible. All the build up for this fight, everyone online saying about how good it was. This shit surpassed anything that I had. We got Mark finally letting loose, Eve going Super Saiyan, and one of the strongest Viltrumites, Conquest, plowing through Earth like it's nobody's business, even in ways I don't even think Nolan could. The performances from all the voice actors as well were incredible, especially the ones from Mark, Eve, and Conquest. Those are some highlight performances to me. Those guys really put their heart and soul into each one of their performances. You can tell that the studio saved all the animation budget for these last 2 episodes. But shout out to all the animators who worked on this, because it was a pleasure to watch. But not wasting any more time, let's get into the episode. Full spoiler warning ahead for episode 8, and no comic spoilers in the comments, please. We waste absolutely no time getting into the action. Instant title card, moving on. We find out pretty quickly that Conquest isn't like the other Viltrumites. His goal here isn't to convince Mark to join the Empire, but he just wants to fight. They fly through a bunch of buildings, and Mark takes the fight to space. I love the little heart that Conquest makes out of his frozen blood, and how it confuses Mark. This guy is so vile and ruthless, and his face of pure excitement to throw hands is actually scary. We see the news broadcast of the fight, and Oliver, Debbie, and Paul's perspective. Oliver ready as ever to jump into the action, and Debbie's little arc this season about parenting Oliver comes full circle here. At the start of the season, she really wanted to shield him from everyone else and keep him away from fights because he was too young or he wasn't ready yet. But now she knows that her boys are going to fight and there's nothing she can do about it. But instead, she pep talks him and lets him go. I can't imagine how hard this must have been for her. You know, moms want to do everything they can to protect their kids, and having to let them go out like that to fight on their own is really heartbreaking. Especially when we know the dude they're about to fight is Conquest. We cut back to Mark getting his ass handed to him. I love how Mark tries to stop the fight and just talk to Conquest, but dude's like, nah. Oliver swoops in and gets one good hit on Conquest before absolutely getting rocked the second time. We see Eve recovering in the hospital, and when she wakes up and sees Mark on the news, she gets up immediately to go join the fight. Conquest is now fighting both Mark and Oliver, and seeing him take Oliver, grab him over the head, and start to rip him in half was actually disturbing to watch. You've got tears coming out of his eyes, blood pouring out of his mouth, bones cracking, skin tearing, muscles being pulled, and man, it was just heart-wrenching. Especially knowing that this is exactly the thing Debbie warned him about like literally 5 minutes ago. And with how good Oliver's memory is, who knows what kind of trauma this is going to induce on him in the future. We then get another repeat of season 1 as Conquest uses Mark as a meat shield to just blow through a city of people. It's actually insane how much the power difference is between regular people and Viltrumites here. Literally just them flying through the air near these people is enough to kill them. Like, that's ridiculous. Anyways, Eve joins the fight and Mark is scared for her life. He tries to stop Conquest, but instead, he gets the bone popped out of his leg. Eve does a little Iron Man suit up, and we get a nice little 1v1 between her and Conquest. I always thought that in the show that with how unique Eve's powers are, we didn't really get to see much variety in her fighting and attacks, especially since she can just literally manipulate any matter, and it felt like she was never using them to the fullest. But here in this fight, we actually got to see some pretty creative stuff. Like her changing the density of the air. I think that was really cool. And she definitely should have used that one more often, instead of her pinkish Green Lantern abilities. Also, hypothetically, if she can change any matter, can she change the strength of gravity? If she can, couldn't she hypothetically make a little black hole around Conquest that would prevent him from ever getting out? I don't know, just food for thought. I'm not gonna lie, Eve does hold her own for a decent amount of time before... Oh, yeah. As much as it hurt to watch this, I was never really scared for her life. You know, the show's done so many fake out deaths to this point that I don't really expect any of the main characters to die. When I saw that scene happen, it was just like, here we go. Now Mark is going to see this and actually start trying. I think this is my only gripe with the episode, and one of the few I have with the show in general right now. They do so many fake out deaths with characters that I don't really expect any of the characters to die anymore. And when they go through these near death situations, I'm not genuinely as scared anymore. But when we see Mark crying out for Cecil, You can hear the rawness and pure desperation in Steven Yeun's performance there.
Cecil! I need you, Cecil!
Anyways, Mark and Conquest go back at it again for another fist bump, and let's just say they hit each other a little too hard. Mark's wrist gets broken, and Conquest's Thanos glove, gone. Mark at this point is so full of rage that his broken leg and wrist don't even faze him. He's gone full psycho and savage at this point. Bro is literally getting held by both arms, and he had to take a bite out of Conquest just so he could free himself up. Like, that's insane. But, not gonna lie, it was pretty cool to watch. The whole season has been building up to this, and Mark finally not holding back and using all his strength was equal parts exciting and scary to watch. On the side, we see Eve's body looking pretty dead until she has a full awakening and completely healing herself. I'm not gonna lie, watching this scene reminded me back of season 1 of Lego Ninjago when I watched back in the day, watching each of the ninja unlock their true potential.
Cole's found his true potential. His relationship with his father must have been holding him back.
But dude, get someone who talks to you the way Conquest talks to Mark in his ear, man. For a second, I almost thought I was watching a different show. Nah, but for real though, Conquest's monologue was really good. We got to see his messed up mental state. He's literally being used as the Viltrum Empire as an assassin and a weapon because he's so good at what he does. You know, us as viewers, we're literally scared of the average Viltrumite, right? Because of what they can do and how much stronger they are than everyone else on Earth. But this guy, all the Viltrumites are scared of him. So think about how strong he has to be for that. That literally the race of the strongest beings in the universe are all scared of you. Like, you really get why he's lonely. And almost made me feel bad for him. I also heard that this little bit wasn't in the comics. So shout out for the writers for expanding on Conquest's character. I think it made him that much better as a villain. We see Eve pull out this giant laser beam, literally burning off all of Conquest's skin. Mark gets his other hand broken, and then he starts playing whack-a-mole with his own head on Conquest's face. You can see the sheer anger and adrenaline pumping through Mark at this moment. And at this point, I don't think any amount of therapy is going to help this dude. And with that, Conquest is defeated. Back in the hospital a couple days later, and Eve explains to Mark how she was able to survive during the battle. Basically, when she got her powers in the womb, they gave her a little inhibitor that prevented her from using them to her full potential and changing sentient matter. But in really traumatic situations, she can override that block and use her powers without any limitations. I'm not gonna lie, I had completely forgotten about this aspect of her powers since the Adam Eve special, because I watched that 2 years ago, and I'm sure many other people also forgot it. So I wish they'd included another scene at some point throughout the season, kind of hinting at this, so they could have used this moment to actually pay that off. You know, it's a really small nitpick, but it's just another one of those show don't tell moments of storytelling that I think would have made this part even better. Cecil now has Sinclair making more of the Reanimin, but this time he's using the bodies of the other dead Invincibles from the last episode, which I think is a pretty cool and smart idea. We also see Debbie's breakdown in the hospital when she comes to see Mark, to see that she feels responsible for everything that's happened to Mark and all the responsibility that's been put upon him. It really makes you feel, man. We then see Rex's funeral and Rudy change his name just to honor Rex. Eve breaking down was also really sad to see because when she was with him at the beginning of the show, the Rex she knew was a completely different person, and yet she still loved him. But since then, we've seen Rex grow and mature so much, and even though she acknowledged it, Eve really didn't get to see that side of Rex.
When you know someone for so long, they're always the same to you. It's hard to let them change or mature.
But afterwards, Eve and Mark go at it again. You see Mark have every guy ever's reaction. I feel you, man. There's also some chrome liquidish thing coming out of Mark's suit. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if I missed something in the episode or if it's a tease to something coming next season. Let me know in the comments. Unless it's a spoiler. Don't let me know if it's a spoiler though. We then get a montage of all the other stuff going on. We got the Sequids in the sewers plotting something underground. Battle Beast getting picked up by a bunch of aliens. Angstrom getting repaired and put his body back together. And Cecil locking up Conquest underground. Now, I don't know how to feel about this one. I feel it's really unlike Cecil to keep Conquest, especially after seeing what he can do. Why not just get rid of him, you know? You just saw how much damage he could do. You really want to risk going through that again? I don't know, it just felt out of character for me. We end off with Mark and Oliver in the hospital, and Mark realizing that what Oliver said at the beginning of the season was right. Sometimes you have to kill the bad guy, and there's no other way around it. And now Mark won't hesitate to kill anymore. But yeah, that was the episode. Invincible Season 3 finale. As a single episode, I think this might be the best episode they've put out in the entire show. And it really nicely wrapped up all the storylines that were going on this season. I'm gonna make a separate video talking about my entire feelings of the season. So stay tuned for that. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of the season and where you'd rank it among the other two. But if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching.